How high can XRP go in 2025? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my XRP price prediction for 2025. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with XRP. So here we have XRP paired up with the US dollar, and this is using the Bitstamp data. I'm using Bitstamp data today because it gives us all of the history here for what we can see on XRP, going all the way back to 2013. Now, there's lots of speculation over the various different price predictions the XRP has, right? There's so many different kind of ways of looking at it. There's fundamental analysis, there's technical analysis, there's a hybrid between the two. There's basically repetition from different kinds of patterns and maybe moon phases. There's so many different ways of looking at it, right? In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting through the bullshit. I'm just going to be focusing in specifically on what the data inside the chart tell me based on previous historical patterns and Elliott wave theory, which is a psychology-based analysis strategy, right? So basically tracking the behaviors of the buyers and the sellers in the data of the charts rather than thinking about the fundamental side of RippleNet or talking about all the money in the world and how they're going to flick a switch and basically everything's going to run through XRP. All of that stuff is kind of irrelevant. I'm just going to be taking a look at the data in the charts of the buyers and the sellers in terms of the liquidity of XRP. Right? Buying and selling, or buyers and sellers, they are the liquidity. So understanding a highly liquid market is a very stable market, okay? And a liquid market is essentially a volatile market, right? So when we see large price swings, we see imbalances between the buyers and the sellers. And when we see a rather flat kind of market, as we have done pretty much since 2022 to where we are now, it's a highly liquid market. And that's exactly what Ripple want. They want a highly liquid market, right? And so this is actually the outcome of that. But anyway, we're not going to go into that today. We're going to be talking about how high we can think that price action is going to go in 2025. Now, there's a lot of colors on the screen here. I'll just quickly walk you through what they are. The red is obviously the bear market low point, or more specifically, it is the 2 years after a US election. We have the orange area. This essentially is 3 years after the US election. Then we have the light yellow area. That is the election year. And then the green area is 1 year after the election. Okay, so think of it this way. It goes yellow, green, red, orange, right? That is kind of the sequence of events. And if we take a look at this, we can see that the green areas, the 1 year after the US election, is a bull market peak every single time. And so 2025 is a bull market peak, right? So the premise of today's video is that 2025 is a bull market peak for the crypto market. And it's happened every single time for Bitcoin, and it's happened every single time here for XRP as well. Understanding that is pretty basic, but it's important to kind of note nonetheless. We do, of course, see different bear markets. So the red area over in 2014 was a bear market. We did not have a bear market here, bear market low in 2018. Instead, it was 2020 for many cryptocurrencies or altcoins. Okay, so we can see that it was red previously, but it is no longer red. And it was also red just here in 2022. Okay, so we can see that 2 out of the 3 bear market lows were basically 1 year after the bull market peak. So we can kind of say either alternates and we're going to see a more bearish kind of time in the next cycle, or we can just say that actually 2020 was a bit of an anomaly, or even though we did actually see bear market lows in 2019 as well. So, you know, there's a little bit there to be kind of taken into account. But if history repeats itself, as it often does, we are looking at 2025 being a bull market peak. So how high does that likely to go? Well, a lot of people are going to take the kind of previous structures and copy them over and paste them over here and tell you, look, we're going to $1 million. You know, there's that kind of analysis. But we're not going to be doing that. There's a few patterns that are worth noting. You'll probably see all over X these kind of things getting drawn out where you see these triangular patterns and these big breaks to the upside. People will draw them all over the place to kind of suit their analysis. They'll make them all various different sizes and you can kind of see things playing out accordingly. Okay, people will obviously tell you that you're in that kind of pattern now as well on a much bigger scale. They'll be drawing it in something to this effect where you have this kind of really long, big kind of triangular pattern in motion, basically spanning, this huge span of time, and we're going to see the biggest kind of breakout to the upside for XRP. And you can kind of see two being drawn in here. We have the 2013 peak coming down into this kind of ascending wedge pattern, and they're basically assuming that the same thing is going to happen over this side as well. So there's that to kind of bear in mind. I'm not really going to focus so much on that in today's video, but it's something that kind of gets widely used and speculated about in various different posts on X and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. As you can see, Elliott wave theory tells us something very interesting though. We do have this idea of a 5-wave pattern to the upside that spans multiple years, going in from the lows of 2014 to the peak of 2017 as a 5-wave pattern. We then have this move to the downside into the 2020 lows, and we have a 5-wave break to the upside under the idea of an expanding diagonal. Okay, not the most I guess accurate one, but it is one that actually fits, so we want to kind of bear that in mind. I'm just going to go ahead and just do a due diligence check here to make sure that that is definitely above there, so it's fine. Okay, so essentially what we're talking about here is the idea that this is an expanding diagonal, and is as such, some people might refer to this also as a megaphone pattern. We have the cooling off, and then we're gearing up for the next big run to the upside. Now, under this premise that if we do in fact see 5 waves here, and we're looking for 5 waves over this side, well, that's going to give you a moon target. Okay, so that's the idea that XRP has some kind of a magical moment in time where it sees significant surges to the upside, and the target for this, as you can kind of see, is drawn out here in this yellow box, $135 to $717. Now, I know that's going to be a massive market cap, and some people in the comments are going to say, would you know what the market cap would be? Well, I'm going to just sit here and tell you now that it doesn't really matter. Market cap is a calculation based on price and supply. It doesn't actually tell you that there's a limit to the price. Okay, if price dictates market cap cannot be used to limit price. That's a circular equation that wouldn't work. Instead, it's best to think about the fact that the market cap is a calculation based on the price multiplied by the circulating supply. And as such, it does not represent liquidity. It does not represent the amount of money flowing into XRP, and it doesn't represent anything meaningful. It's only really there, in my opinion, to trick retail investors and to try to make an idea of value out of nothing. It's more important to focus in on what moves price, which is supply and demand. Most people understand this, but you get the occasional newbie that doesn't quite won't understand supply demand. But just think about it when it comes to your fuel costs, right? Your diesel, your petrol, or your bread, your milk. When there's a shortage of supply and a surplus of demand, you see prices skyrocketing. Maybe you just go back in time to 2020 and we'll talk about toilet paper. You'll kind of get the idea. So it's more important to focus in on what's going to increase demand while simultaneously shrinking supply. And that's where a lot of these kind of bull market targets come from, in that kind of idea. So there's a true target here for XRP to see a significant surge to the upside between $135 and $700, right? So there is that target. It is a real target. It's based on the technical analysis that has spanned since 2014 to current, right? The 5-wave move that we have to the upside at the moment is basically just a wave 1 in this premise. So you have a wave 1, we have a wave 2, we have a wave 3, 4, and 5, and that is where you're going to start to see these kind of big bullish breaks to the upside. Now, here's the kicker. There's no guarantee that this kind of pattern plays out in a single bull market. Okay, as you can kind of see here, this one actually took a significant period of time to play out from 2014 to 2018. But again, this one's actually dragging out a lot longer, and we can't do time analysis here using Elliott wave. So it's more important to understand that Elliott wave is only going to give you the idea of the buyers and the sellers and how they're behaving and the price targets that are associated with those behaviors. Those behaviors, A, can change, and B, can, basically be bang on point. But they won't tell you is how long that's going to take, right? So in this particular case, it could take 2 bull markets, it could take 3 bull markets, but at some point that target there, based on the current behaviors of traders, is a high probability target. Now, I look at this slightly differently, more from a conservative lens rather than a kind of bull market moon boy lens. Okay, so that's the first kind of thing you want to think about, right? There's those true kind of long-term multi-cycle holds that maybe you might see $100+ for XRP. Then of course we have the next bull market target, which I think will be a conservative target, and something that I think is more realistic would come in on the idea that we're not in that impulsive structure, but we're more in a corrective structure, and that would basically give us a target range between $5.01 and $9.82. Okay, so that's going to be that one right there, and we look for a 5-wave break to the upside on that, of which we can have a diagonal in the formation here, and you can see that break to the upside there, and this would then basically either form a nested position where we see basically XRP really start to gear up to those multi-year cycles where we see those bigger breaks to the upside. Alternatively, it is just a correction of an A, B, and C structure. Okay, targeting out $5 to $10. That there to me seems to be the most conservative approach to this one. It's not what we want to see, but it's also possible that we have a larger diagonal that takes a lot longer to play out, meaning that we have kind of 3 waves coming down. The next bull market has another 3 waves going up, and then we have another 3 waves coming down, and then we have another 3 waves going to the upside, basically hitting eventually that kind of higher range expectation. That kind of diagonal based pattern would be really worrying, but also potentially leads us into bigger kind of ideas and suggestions later down the line. But of course, you know, it's way too soon to know. For me, $5 to $10 is going to be the conservative target that I have for XRP once we kind of have all of the nonsense with the lawsuit come to an end, and once we start to see basically some true demand coming in for the actual token. $100 to $700 is definitely a nice target to have in mind, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for that one in my humble opinion. Of course, that's all this is, just my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I personally see it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server linked in the description. We would love to hear from you. And guys, if you haven't done so already, check out this video right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.